Hi YouTube. Today I'd like to make a tutorial showing you how to use C++ and Windows.h to create some static text on your window. What I mean by static is that the user can read it, but of course they can't edit it because it's static. So first I would like to draw your attention to MSDN, which is a great resource, although it can be a bit confusing at times if you're beginning. And you're going to be looking at this create window function today. This function is used a lot regardless of either create window or create window.ex, which is similar to create window except it adds some more advanced abilities to customize it, although we'll just look at this one for now. So basically the first thing you'll notice about create window is it takes a ton of arguments. It takes 11 arguments, although some of them are optional, which means you can just pass null. And it returns a variable of type hwind, which, as you remember from the previous tutorial, we declared one here, capital the type, and then it was actually called hwind as well, which is a handle to a window. And when we use this create window.ex function, which was standard in the which was part of the default project, we captured the return value in hwind. So what we have here basically is it's the default starting project where we started from yesterday basically, except I've made a few customizations which I'd like to point out for starters. I've changed the title to tutorial 2. I've changed the dimensions of the window to be 500 by 500, and I've also added I've changed this to WS menu instead of the default type, and I've added something which I should have showed you in the last video, WS minimize box. If you have a window that's WS menu, it means you can't resize it, as I told you before, right? And you can't maximize it. But with WS minimize box, it'll allow you to minimize the window, which is kind of useful, I think. So if you build and run, I'll show you what I meant. So there you go, there's the window. It's similar to the one we had in the last project, nothing on it. And you can't resize it because it's WS menu is the type of window, but you can minimize it now. Oh, wrong one. So just close this program. Now, let's get to it with adding text. So you recall down here from the last video that this is what I called the message handler for our program, where this program, or the loop runs here and then it calls these two functions, and then this function here, which is part of either Windows.h or the operating system itself, calls back to this function here. And when it calls back, it can pass a message and various other parameters. So in this switch case here, you'll notice the only case we have so far is wm destroy, which is the message passed when we want the program to quit, or when the user presses the X button, and then it just calls this function post quit message, which basically exits your program. We're going to add one more case here, case wm create semicolon and then break. So this part here, wm create, this message is passed when your window is actually created. So this is, if you want to add stuff to your window, you can do it in here. For example, let's see, since we're only creating a static text field, let's not bother with creating a handle to the window, because we won't need the handle really to get the Windows text or anything like that. Although if you wanted, you could create a handle. I find it's easy to do all your handles as global variables, although it's good for when you're starting out, but it's probably not the nicest thing you'll ever see. Actually, we might as well do that just because. We'll just go up here. HW and my bad, I can't type today. Text field. And this is very rough, I apologize for that, but that's one way you can do it pretty easily. If you have a lot of them, I suppose it can get annoying. So let's see, text field equals create window. There we got our function, and now the first parameter we want to pass is static, in a string, in quotes that is. Then the next parameter is what we actually want it to say. So let's say hello world is our next parameter. We'll give it an exclamation. And then the next parameter, you can pass various values. It is this DW style parameter. It's of type dword, which is basically quite similar to either 32-bit integer or 32-bit unsigned integer. I'm not too sure on that. I think it might be unsigned. But you can pass WS visible. Then you use the OR if you want to pass more than one into the same argument. WS child and say WS border. Say we want to do it like that. So what each of these mean is, first of all, we're making sure that it's a child window. We're giving it a border, and basically we're making it visible. You have to specify WS visible if you want your window to actually show up. And then the next parameters are the position of the window. So let's say we want it to be at 20 pixels and 20 pixels, so it'll be 20 down and 20 to the left of the main window. And let's say we want it to be 300 wide. I think that's width. Let me check that. I'm sorry. Yeah, width. So we'll make it 300 wide and 25 tall. And then the next parameter would be, we just type hwind, because this parameter here is the handle to the parent window. Because we specified that it's WS child, we have to specify the parent window. We have to give it the handle to the parent window to create it on, which is this one up here, and this is our main window. So yeah, basically that just means that the button's going to be on the main window, and all these are relative to the main window, which is referenced by hwind. And then because it's a text box and we're not going to need to create a button, we're not going to create any sort of actions based on the user clicking on it or anything, or we're not going to have to get the text. We can just leave all these as null. The last three. Null, null, null. Make sure it's in all caps. And yeah, that should work. Let me just compile and run and hope there's no errors. Perfect. So there you go. There's the Hello World box, and you can see it's a different color than the window, which I will show you how to fix in a later tutorial, probably the next tutorial actually. And if you want, for example, we can get rid of the WS border attribute, and it'll still have the color, but it won't have, you'll see the border's gone now, the little black ring around it. We can also resize. Say we realize that 300 is a little excessive, maybe it'll fit in 100. We can try that, and as you notice, it's a lot smaller. I believe the default text actually has a height of 20. I'm not entirely sure, but let's see if 20 works better in height. Yeah, 20 is more accurate, I'd say, than 25. So yeah, I hope this helps you guys, and I'll make some more tutorials soon. Please comment if you have any questions, and I'd be glad to help. Thanks for watching, guys.